a necklace or a wrap bracelet? Why not both? Hey there, I'm Dina. I'm a pharmacist and jewelry designer, challenging myself to use all the beads and findings in the Southern Shores Magical Mystery Bead Box. Today, the Sandy Toes beaded chain becomes a versatile necklace or wrap bracelet. So gather your supplies and let's make something beautiful and fun. Alright, so here is our next project. And on this one, I had thoughts that maybe making both a necklace that could also double as a wrap bracelet. Because when I put this one on, I'm like, this is quite cute and quite lovely and just the right size for my wrist to be able to do 3 wraps around my wrist. So I tend to wear a smaller bracelet than most people, or than a lot of people. I usually wear anywhere between a 7 and a 7 1/4 is typical comfort size for me. So I think I'm going to make this just a little bit longer, so we're going to add a little seed beaded portion to it. And we're going to do that in the middle of the necklace / bracelet. So to do that, I am lining up the 2 ends of the necklace over here, and then of the chain, and then I am just going down the chain until I get to the center. So I have 1 bead that's here in the center. So we need to make sure, or we need to cut this guy off, so we have 2 lengths of our link of chain to be able to use. Now when you cut off this, you're going to have that extra crystal there that's in the center. I'm going to take that crystal off the link and I'm going to use it inside the little beaded portion of it. So to cut off your crystal, make sure this focuses, there we go. You'll notice that you have a loop right here that is part of your link here, and a loop over there off to the side. And then these are the loops for this link, and then so on and so forth over here too. You want to make sure that you're cutting the loops for this middle crystal. You don't want to accidentally cut the loops on the other side. But we're just going to cut just like normal when we're opening and closing a chain. And then on the second one, do the same thing. Just make sure you're cutting the correct loop. Check it twice, and then cut once. And then now you should have 2 links of chain that should be the same length. Alright, so that is the first part of this. And then I'll go ahead and I'll show, just in case somebody's not familiar with it, what you want to do is you want to get your plier or your cutters that close up to the crystal, but not hopefully not touching it too much, because when you go to cut the wire off, wow, I can't think of words today. When you go to cut off the wire is going to shoot off somewhere, so you want to make sure that you're holding on to it, but you also don't want to crack that crystal. So just get close to it and then push down, and then it should come off just like that. So now we're going to use that crystal in our little beaded portion of our necklace / bracelet. So go ahead and get caught up to that. Meet me back, grab your thread and your needle, get that set and ready to go. A little pile of your 3 types of seed beads, and we'll do that beaded portion. Alright, so let's get started with the beaded portion that we're going to add to the center of our necklace / bracelet. We're going to pick up 4 of our 8/0s. We're going to do a double right angle weave. That's what some people call it. To me, it just looks like a little diamond. So we're going to put the 4 seed beads on, bring it down to the end of your thread until you have just a little bit to hang on to, and then go back through just that first seed bead that you added. And I have a whole lot of thread on my needle because I was not sure what I was going to do, and it ended up being just simple as better, I think, on this one. So it's going to be a pretty simple little stitch. So now we're going to do the double right angle weave portion, because this is your first right angle weave. Pick up another 8/0, I'm not moving my bead mat, sorry. So pick up another 8-0 and then go through the next bead in line. And then pick up an 8-0, do the same thing. Go through the next bead in line. Do that 2 more times. And that's number 3, and then this is number 4. So this is the first bead that we're coming out of, and as you can see that this is where your starter thread is coming out of. So we're going to go through that first bead again, and then when you pull this tight, there's your double right angle weave unit. So now we're going to step up to the next bead, which is the first bead that we added in the second row. Come on, focus. There we go. We're going to step up to that one, and we're going to do a little bit of embellishing. Now we're going to pick up 2 11s, a 15, and 2 11s. So you have 2 11s, a 15, and 2 11s. You're coming out of that first little peak. We're going to go through the next peak, which is the second bead that we added in the last step. And then that's all you do on this step. So 2 11s, a 15, and 2 11s. And then move to the next. And then do that a third time. And then go ahead and do it the 4th time. I'm just staying on camera and not actually pausing because this is pretty short and simple, so it's going to be one of those pretty easy little things to do. Alright, so now we have our 4 little spots, our 11 O's and 15 O's in there. So now we need to get to where we can add some 8 O's on either side of our little diamond, so that way we can put jump rings through those 8 O's and connect it to our necklace bracelet that we're making. So to do that, we're going to proceed through the 2 11s and the 15. And sometimes, especially these 15s, they have a little bit of an extra coating to them. So sometimes going through this 15 a couple of times is going to be a little rough. If that happens, I will show you what you need to do. So go ahead and pick up one of your 8s. Then we're going to square stitch this on to the 8-0, the 15 that's sitting there. The 8-0 is going to get square stitched onto the 15. So just go back through the 15 in the same direction with your thread. And then now you have your 8-0 square stitched on. We're going to go back through that 8-0 one more time though, to put 2 strands of thread through the 8-0. So then proceed back through that 15 one more time as well. Now this is where it can kind of get tight sometimes. Yep, see my needle's not wanting to come through. If that happens, just wiggle your needle. Don't tug it too hard, because if you tug it too hard, you're going to break that little 15. If it happens, it's fine. It's a small little project. You can just go back through it again. But usually what I do is I grab one of my pliers. I just grab my flat nose because it's easier for me to hold. I pinch those beads in between my fingers there, and then I wiggle with the pliers and pull at the same time. And then most of the time, you can get your thread and needle through without breaking the bead. Doesn't happen all the time. Sometimes it'll break. And then that's when you just have to figure out how to get through it, through your project. So we're going to continue through the 2 11s, the 8, and 2 11s. I'm going to skip the next 15, and that'll help it kind of stick out a little bit more. And then I'm going to go back through the next 2 11s, the 8, 2 11s, and the 15 on this one, because this is where we're going to put our other 8-0 to add our jump ring on the edge. So we're going to square stitch this one on. Get my pliers out of the way. I was kept wrapping up against them. So that's one path through the 8-0. Let's get the second path in here. And then I went ahead and I caught on to the 11-0 right after. And see, that one was a little bit easier to tug through. So there's what that looks like. And then we're going to proceed through the 11, the 8, the 2 11s. We're going to skip that last 15. Go back through the 2 11s on the other side of it and proceed through the 8. So now I'm going to flip it back in my hands again. Now this is where we're going to add our little rondelle that we took off of the chain. So this little guy, you can either add it in this direction if you want to, or you can add it in this direction if you want to, whichever way that you want. I think I'm going to add it to where the whole of the rondelle is going in this direction like that. So to do that, I'm going to proceed through this seed bead right here, which is one of the first round of seed beads. And then I'm going to proceed through this seed bead right here, this 8-0. Just like that. And then now I'm going to add, I'll be there in a minute, I'm going to add my rondelle. It's dinner time, so let me get this finished. So to do that, I'm coming out of that bottom 8-0 down here. I'm going to go through the top one up here at the top. And I'm twisting this in my hand again. And then when you pull tight, it should allow that your rondelle to just kind of sit on top. Now we're going to go through that bead one more time, twisting it back in my hand again. So that way we have 2 thread paths through this rondelle. And there is a little bit of thread that you're going to see there. If that bothers you, you can add some 15s right there too. You don't have to have the thread sitting there like that if you don't want it. And then I'm going to proceed back through that original 8-0, going in the same direction, so that way we have a thread path on either side of the 8-0. See how it is up here at the top? We're trying to do the same thing on the bottom. And then now your little rondelle is on your little component. So all you have to do now is just get to the back here, and we're going to tie this off. So I'm trying to figure out where I'm at real quick. So I'm going to move my thread to the back just so I can see where I'm at. I didn't go through any beads, I just went in between beads. And then I think I need to go one more bead. Yep, one more bead, and then I'm caught up to where my starter thread is at. And then I'm going to tie this into knot. Right over left, left over right. And then I'm going to burn this off. And then burn it down close to the product. And then after that, I will stop and let you get caught up. And I'm going to go eat dinner. And then I'll be back and I'll show you how to finish the rest of our necklace / bracelet that we're making. Alright, so let's get this necklace put together. So let's get one of our jump rings, and we'll need to open this up. So put your pliers on one side of the opening and a second set of pliers on the other side, and then twist open. Try that again. Twist open, like that. And then I'm actually going to twist that open just a little bit more. And then we'll put this through our 8-0 seed bead. And depending on which type of coating that you use and things like that, sometimes the coating will make it a little bit more difficult to be able to get the jump ring through. Sometimes it's the jump ring and the size of it. And sometimes just switching it, like I'm trying to do right now, is all you need to do, and then you can get it through after that. But it may be that I have to open it a little bit wider than what I have already. So let's try this. There it goes. It's going through. It's just taking a second. Okay, there we go. Now we got the jump ring through. So sometimes that happens. Now I want to make sure that the necklace sits in this direction. I'm also going to be using the jump ring that came with the necklace itself as the jump ring that my lobster clasp will attach to. So I'm going to make sure that that portion of my necklace is on the left side of the necklace. So with this being the front here with our little component, then we're going to link our necklace chain onto our jump ring from there. And then all you do after that is just close up your jump ring, if it'll do it for you. There we go. I'm using stainless steel jump rings. They're sometimes harder to twist around and everything. Okay. Just making sure that's a good secure tightness. And so we've got one part on there. So then you put the other part on, do the same thing, open up your jump ring, and then slip it through your 8/0. Hopefully this one will go through okay, since I had problems with the first one. And sometimes if you open up your jump ring too wide, sometimes that's what makes it hard for the jump ring to go through the 8/0, because it is twisted. But there we go. Now we got it. Then we're going to grab the other end of the chain and then do the same thing. Link that on. And then close that part up. There we go, that's closed. So now we have our little link in the middle of everything. And then now we're going to go to the other end of the necklace. Excuse me, goodness. And then we're going to add our lobster clasp on. So open up another jump ring, slip that on, slip on your lobster clasp, and then close that up. And then when you get that done, you have a finished necklace, and or you can use it as a wrap bracelet. And we added our little added embellishment of the seed-beaded rondelle down at the bottom. So that is project number 7 complete. If you enjoyed this versatile necklace / wrap bracelet tutorial, then I have more tutorials for you down in the description below. There's a playlist down there, so click on that and get inspired for your next project. Don't forget to hit that like button, the subscribe button, as well as the notification bell, so that way you'll get notified when I come out with my next video. I will see you all in that next one. Bye now.